Kanye's rollout for his new album, Bully, is probably the worst in history.
Okay, let's go through everything Bully because it has been an interesting week for sure. So unless you're completely, I mean completely living under a rock, Kanye dropped Bully a few days ago. Kinda? Well, he dropped version 1 of Bully exclusively on Twitter, which even though we're seeing it for the first time this week, has actually been uploaded months ago. But besides all of that info, this version of Bully is being uploaded to a bunch of different platforms right now. The next morning, most of you probably realized that it was uploaded to Ye's YouTube channel as well. And it was getting mostly positive reviews too, which I'll talk about that later because that's a whole different topic. But yeah, it was put on YouTube, went #1 trending, 3.5 million views in 2 days. And then most recently, with Bully being uploaded in different places, we are now seeing this whole video album of V1 be uploaded to the streaming service Apple Music. And don't worry, this isn't like the full album being uploaded, like dropping as music, so Kanye's discography isn't completely ruined with AI slop and uncleared samples, just yet at least. And I know that sounds ironic when both of the Vultures albums exist, but at least it's not like a whole album of AI slop and uncleared samples.
What up, words? Boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG. Join the membership gang. Listen, this is a hip-hop orientated channel, so I do sometimes, for the most part, speak about hip-hop related things and subjects. And Kanye West, whether we like it or not, believe it or not, is still considered hip-hop. And I realize what's going on with this Kanye West situation, why he will never, ever, ever be canceled, and why we will never, ever, ever see a decline in this, I don't know if I want to say parasite, but Kanye West is still attempting to make music. And I'm going to tell you why that's a bad thing, because he just dropped an album called Bully. And I've never seen a rollout this bad in my life. But for the first part I want to discuss is Kanye himself says the album is 50% AI. AKA, by his own words, is half AI. His vocals. Kanye says half of his vocals on the Bully album are AI generated. Gang, I need you to understand what that means. This man has nothing in the tank. And I swore up and down, I said, I'm not going to listen to that album. But gang, you know what? I didn't listen to the album, but what I did have to do, when I heard that this album was 50% AI and that he had released it to Twitter and then he released it to YouTube in the form of a 30-minute video with his son Saint beating up random wrestlers in slow motion and in black and white, I said, you know what, Charles, for the posterity of figuring out why this guy is so gone, you're going to have to play at least the beginning of some of these songs. You're going to have to hear this album, because when I heard it was going to be soul samples, right, I was like, here we go. Here we go. This guy thinks that all he has to do is throw some soul loops on, and we got the old Kanye, right? So I'm like, Charles, I know you don't want to, but you're going to have to at least play some of the snippets and listen to this and see where it goes. Because I cannot believe that a grown man in 2025 that is a hip-hop legend would let AI generate half of his album and then you release it. Kanye West has released an album that he sat and let AI write half of it. Kanye West has sat there and done next to nothing. And I went through, gang, I'm going to be honest, and I watched a couple YouTubers talking about this album. And I'm not going to, listen, gang, I'm not going to lay this on the feet because I know this is a generalization. But what happened when I went to these other YouTubers' pages and I saw their fan base and they love this, man. They love this man, gang. I'm just going to be honest, but I'm going to have to say this. The reason we cannot cancel this guy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but his fan base right now is young Caucasian males. they're heavy with this guy. He can do no wrong. And I realized, Challz, you're in a different era. The minute that Tekashi 6ix9ine, when we used to debate that if he gets out, can he continue his career? Not only could he continue his career would be bigger. He would do features with Nicki Minaj. And at that point, it was clear. We are in a different era, gang. This is a different world. And he who has the fans has the world. And this guy Kanye, his young male Caucasian fan base, and I know y'all gonna get it in the comments, but I'm just going to be honest, it wasn't a lot of black girls in them comments talking about he's a genius. And it wasn't a lot of, I'm just being honest, gang. I'm just gonna be honest. Wasn't a lot of white girls in there either. But what I'm saying is his fans are very forgiving.
We've seen it multiple times in his career where everyone is like, oh my God, like I can't believe he just said that. Like that's insane. There's absolutely no way that Kanye is coming back from this. And then guess what? He does. Taylor Swift, Slavery is a Choice, the Trump stuff, and now this whole thing we're going through right now. Well, like I said, he does. He always comes back. He can't keep getting away with this. I mean, this is a perfect example, especially when he puts out good music. People can't help but like it. Like I said before, almost all the comments are really liking the album. As much as Bully is some AI slop right now, the core of it is really good. Y'all know I hold Ye accountable when he does some dumbass shit or puts out some garbage ass music. Vultures too, straight up booty, dog shit. But this is some of Kanye's best work since T-Lop. Besides the AI, I think that's the biggest thing that needs fixing. The production is crazy, and especially now since Kanye is locked in again in Japan, I could really see this being a great Ye album.
They joked about his nitrous oxide use. They blow that stuff off. They blow off his comments as, oh, that's just Ye being Ye. He's saying crazy stuff, but we just want the music. They don't care about anything. This guy's fan base doesn't care about nothing. This rollout is awful. He put it up on Twitter. None of the samples are cleared. He looped these samples straight up. He took great records from old songs and just looped them, and then had AI write the beat, the hooks and the choruses, and it's just him and the beat. And I told you a few videos ago, I said Kanye can't write without having sex in the music. It just doesn't exist. But then I listened to this and I'm like, oh, this isn't Kanye writing. This is AI thinking what Kanye would normally say. The old Kanye over these soul samples. In what world would you want to hear a 50% AI product? Now he's claiming that he hates AI all of a sudden. Now he's going to fix the album. Really? You just could turn it on and off. Now you're just going to go and all the AI. Now you're just going to write. You're just going to go in and write. And now he's in Japan and he's bringing everybody over there. Now he's going to do the whole album in Japan. The people that he hasn't offended, he hasn't pissed off, right? Playboy Cardi won't be there. Not sure if any of these guys, I don't know who's going to be over there, just going to be honest, right? So I'm looking at this rollout. He put it on his own page, the video of Bully V1 version 1, which he's been leaking stuff for months. He put it on his page. It did 3.5 million in 2 days allegedly, according to this channel that I was watching. And then somehow he deleted it. But there are at least 20, 30 other pages who ripped that and posted it up. So you can go see it at any moment. But that means it's all over the place. And he's still correcting things. Right now is what I'm seeing. When I first traced back, when I started to have an issue with Kanye, my issues really go back to Life of Pablo. And I'm going to tell you why. And what he's doing right now is the Life of Pablo on steroids. What happened with Life of Pablo? If you guys don't remember, Kanye put out Life of Pablo. He threw this crazy cover together. Life of Pablo. Yeah, some of us. We're all pumped up. Life of Pablo, blah, blah, blah. I got Life of Pablo. I made many concessions for it. I'm telling you, I overlooked a lot of that stuff. I'm like, this album's good. I told you that horrible the very first verse on the album, dope beat, Chance the Rapper, love his verse. When Kanye's first verse comes about girls bleaching their asshole and all that right there, I should have cut that album off and never listened to the rest of it. because Father Stretch My Hands is the beat is great, the record is great. He ruins it with that verse. I'm just going to be honest, but I overlooked it and kept going. Now, I was one of the defenders, right? I can't rewrite history. I can only tell you the story. I was a defender of Life of Pablo. Even when other people were coming out, DJ Quick was one of the biggest. He was like, yo, this guy is overrated. This guy ain't no real good producer. I was on DJ Quick page lighting his ass up. You just jealous that I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to tell you because I still believed in Ye, right? But then Ye came back. This is when Tidal was still popping. And he started tinkering with the album. And he started moving things and changing things. I don't know if you remember, he changed Wolves and this wasn't right. And he was taking this out and moving that. And that started to really bother me. Because you don't get no do-overs in this shit. You put the album out, you leave it alone, you move on. If you want to change some shit, you make a deluxe or something. I don't know what to tell you. But you don't tinker with the shit we already got in our we have it on our playlist. This is set. He was changing tracks order. It was crazy. And I'm like, gang, what is wrong with this? And that's when I first really started to look at Kanye sideways and get annoyed with Kanye. That's the beginning of it. But what I've learned is these kids nowadays, they love it. Remember he came out with that little MP3 player? I don't even remember what it was called, but it was you can remix Kanye's records, right? He was charging $1,000, whatever it was for that thing. Some little thing where you would put the music in, you could take out the vocals, change the samples, do all this crazy stuff. It was very niche. And it was only for one album, so you know who was buying that. Right? It wasn't a lot of regular people buying this little machine that can remix this one album for Kanye, except for his hardcore fans, right? And I already told you who that is. So what I'm saying is no disrespect. It's just it is what it is, okay? And you can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe I'm right with that. And it's no disrespect. It is what it is. So what I'm saying is Kanye has found his lane. Because most hip hoppers like me, we don't want to hear you fixing it and changing it in real time. And that's what he's doing with this Bully album. He's changing it, fixing it, moving stuff around. There are like mad versions that's been out for months with different songs that he's still touching up. But what I heard when I told you I didn't listen to it, but I told you, like when I watched the video, homeboy had he was putting snippets of the album and I was listening. And what my conclusions was every single snippet had auto-tune. And every single song was just him and the loop of a sample. Very little work. It was very, very little creativity. And when you think about it, it's like, it's even less creativity because the AI is writing the bars. He deleted it from his YouTube. And now he's supposed to be putting it on Apple. But most of the samples aren't cleared. And one of the guys that has a sample is like, you'll never get the sample. So you're rolling out an album with uncleared samples and verses you didn't even write. I think he got one feature at the end that was Playboy Cardi before he spazzed on Playboy Cardi over his daughter. So surely that's going to be removed. So you're rolling out an album that you can't even really sell nowhere. And it made a lot of stuff made sense. I went to his YouTube page and I'm like, yeah, his videos, they'll do 2 million, 3 million, possibly 4 million. But that's not on par to the people he wants to be like. Kendrick videos do way more than that. Drake videos do way more than that. He can't. This is why we're getting these rants and all this anti-Kendrick stuff, because Kendrick's on top. I didn't know how high above this guy it was till I really looked. I'm like, he's like killing this guy. Like, it's not even close. Kendrick's worst viewed video will be double of anything Kanye's doing. So it's like, I don't know if this guy really is into this music anymore. He's just going through the motions. Because if I sit there and let AI write my stuff and I drop it and I pull it back and I delete it and I tell you this and that, and it's just like I'm all over the place. I'm going to rewrite that. At some point, I don't know what I'm doing no more. I'm just going to be honest. And his fans have become accustomed to this. They're going with everything he drops. But it's like a chaotic, and I guess when you grow up, it's a younger fan base for him right now. And I guess when you grow up in this world where things move so fast, right? Things are over here. This is a TikTok generation, so things move fast. So they're used to things changing, and their attention span is extremely. If you're swiping TikToks all day, you might see 100, 200 videos you got to process every single day. These kids move fast, so they don't have time to get caught up in the details of shit. So they're like, sure, you're changing the beat, you're moving this, sure, fine. I'll just wait till you drop it. He can drop it and then keep changing it. They're fine with that shit. I'm not good with that. So I think this is one of the worst rollouts in history because you're doing all this tweeting and getting all this attention and you're dissing everybody and the album still ain't out and ready. So what are you going to say next to get the focus back on this Bully album? You're doing everything but putting the music out, right? You're trying to do songs with Diddy and you got your daughter on it. It's the most insane rollout I have ever seen for an album. And you ask anybody about the Bully album, most people, I'm just going to be honest, 85% of people don't know, don't care. Right? I told you it did 3.5 million in 2 days. Now, Kanye West releases an album, but people are onto the scam. They're like, that's not even going to be the full album. That's not going to be what ends up on services, if it ever comes on services, right? It's going to be changed 15 times, so people ain't even feeding into it. 3.5 in 2 days sound good, but for Kanye West to be putting up an album, it should be way more than that. I'm just going to be honest. So what we're seeing is a man, he's spiraling, he's using AI. What self-respecting artist is going to put out an album that 50% is AI generated? And I was thinking the beats were AI generated. No, it's not the beats. It's everything that he's saying, AI wrote this. That's how that works. Give me 16 bars of Kanye over this beat, and AI can do it. You know how sad that is, gang? I'm going to be the first one. I'm going to put a petition in a mental note. I'm going to put this in the air. This new Kanye need to be ejected from hip hop. This is just my personal thought. This is literally this is worse than ghostwriting. This is worse than ghostwriting. You at least got to put some effort into it. This ain't even his voice, gang. Are you understanding what I'm telling you? This not even his voice. He's going to sell you AI. He's going to sell this to people. If your throat box ain't messed up like Beanie Siegel, we don't need to hear you on no AI reproducing your voice. And he's assuming that just because he goes back to the soul samples, that we're going to come running and forget everything he said and done in the last year. Newsflash, ain't happening. All these soul beats, soulful samples, that shit's not going to move the needle. Your core fans are going to be there waiting on this shit. And even they're calling it AI slop. All right? Get in the comments, let me know what you think about this, how you feel. I feel like the ship has 100% sailed on Kanye. What I did was I heard it through the next thing. So I didn't give this guy any type of, he didn't get no streaming off of me. And that's my biggest concern. I don't want to give this guy 1/10 of a stream. And I'm sticking to that. So no, I won't be hearing it when it drops on Apple and all that good stuff like that. But I did hear the beginning I heard some snippets of it. And all of the snippets to me sound conclusive. It's AI on it and it's all auto-tune. And that's it. That's the whole review. If you want to review the album, here it is. It's half of it is AI. You know what? As a matter of fact, I believe it's all AI. And he's saying half. Because you can say anything. If a guy tell you half, that mean all. Right? You know the adage. If she say her body count is 10, it's 20. So if he's saying half, I think it's all. I think he generated a whole album of AI. He probably didn't even make the beats. He probably put the beats into the thing and told the AI to make it into a beat. He probably put the sample into the thing, told AI to make it, and AI just looped it. So you're getting a trash Kanye. I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
CLB.